You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast, the hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hello, this is Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There are ladies things that makes it official. Welcome to 16 years of the Chris Voss Show. Going on 17 and, 18 years on our YouTube account. And over 2,200 episodes, we bring you the CEOs, the billionaires, the White House presidential advisors, the Pulitzer Prize winners, all the smartest people in all of the land and all of the world. All the planets, damn it. We bring you the smartest people on all the planets that are out there, at least the ones we know of. She's the author of the latest book that came out August 5th, 2024. We're going to be talking about her insights and how her insights can help you as a listener out there of the Chris Voss Show. The book is entitled Your Core 4, the ultimate framework for unleashing business success through vision, values, mission, and promise. Mrs. Nili Goldberg joins us on the show. We're going to be talking to her about her insights and how you can make your business better and all that good stuff. Welcome to the show. How are you, Nili?
Hi, Chris. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
Thanks for coming. We're excited to have you as well. And give us your .coms, .ais. Where do you want people to find you on the interwebs?
I love connecting on LinkedIn, actually. So just find me on Nili Goldberg. Spells as it sounds, Nili. I also have two other websites, Faster as in Fast Alignment Strategies, FAASTR.ai. And growthonomics.com. But if you want the direct connection, then I handle my own account on LinkedIn, and I love talking to entrepreneurs and business leaders and helping them out.
All right. So give us a 30,000 overview. What's in your new book?
Oh, my new book. So Your Core 4 is actually kind of a reflection of the past 12 to 15 years of me being an entrepreneur when I first trailblazed the social media influencer sphere, walking on Madison Avenue, trying to convince advertising agencies that micro influencers are the thing, while, Kutcher was on Twitter and Ashton Kutcher was on Twitter and really, the million followers and suddenly trying to convince people that anyone is an influencer and anyone who loves a brand and is willing to engage and connect with it is the next best thing to sliced bread. But it took a while. So that started in 2010.
I remember those days. Those were great days.
Instagram didn't exist then, it was like influencers. And after that, so for the past, 14 years, I've been working as an entrepreneur in the startup scene, working with brands that now IPO'd on NASDAQ. And what I found was that the mutual, thread that leads to success, if we put aside words like business plan and marketing plan and things that make people want to barf a little in the mouth every now and then, the things that really make them going, keep them going, are a clear, crystallized vision, which was surprising to see how its lack is still in the business world. It's more difficult to convince people about the necessities of vision, even though there's stats to show. And the B2C world talks about manifestation and vision, and as clear as you get, that's how you'll reach your goals. So that was one thing. The other are core values, and core values not just family or good vibes or collaboration and teamwork, but rather the core values, those elementary, the 4 to 6 words, phrases, memes that actually reflect an organization's operation mode and its belief system.
Mm-hmm.
And then the mission, but it's that one thing. The mission is the what is it that we do day in, day out in order to overcome all the obstacles and end up living our vision.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's the promise. What promise can I make if you, then I, that would really engage the right audience, what's called in the startup world or the tech world, the product market fit.
Oh, okay.
So that mixture of those core four elements turned into that compass, into that one liner that leads to the north star of every venture and leads to its success.
There you go. The four core values, vision, values, or I'm sorry, the core four: vision, values, mission, and purpose. There you go. How you can make your business better doing that. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you talking in the book about some of your journey and your business success? Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get the entrepreneur bug? How did you grow up? What were maybe some influences that got you to be an entrepreneur?
I think that before being an entrepreneur, I solely believe that my DNA, just like ballerinas have theirs, was being a marketer.
Mm.
One who can really get into other people's skin and understand their what makes them tick, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And that was always my one of my I guess my genius zone,
Mm-hmm.
which got me very passionate about marketing because I moved around quite a lot. I was born in Israel to immigrant parents from this now ex former Soviet Union. Then they came from communism, landed in the land of milk and honey, but we didn't even have a phone in the house in the early
Uh-huh.
80s. And then we moved to Silicon Valley.
Oh,
So
wow. It's quite the
so it's like
jump.
so it's Russian immigrants, and not in the global world like today that you know where you're going and what are the vibes and what McDonald's is.
Mm-hmm.
We did know what Coca-Cola was, but Levi's and All Stars were. I was one of the first to have them.
Oh,
So right into the deep tech scene. My mom worked in San Francisco, and her friends were of all diverse backgrounds and passions.
mm-hmm.
And my dad worked in Santa Clara, and I went to a Jewish private school and tried. So all these combos always got me to, I had to land and hit the ground running wherever we moved. And that back and forth kind of got me to really, I guess, get my senses very, very focused on what makes people tick and how can I integrate. And as a
Mm-hmm.
marketer, that was great. But coming from Silicon Valley in the 80s, I guess that was when the entrepreneurial bug was first there. And working in the corporate world and trying to calculate how much is a meeting worth when there are like 12, 15 people around the table and they're like, let's talk about what we're going to have for lunch. As an entrepreneur and a business owner, then I wasn't yet. That made me itch until I got the real bug when I was a VP product of a
Mm-hmm.
company in 2007 that was like a mixture of Hulu and Netflix. 2007, that's when the streaming just came into Netflix.
Yeah.
And we built this whole ecosystem in Latin America.
Oh, wow.
So suddenly with all this tech and all this marketing and all that, the mixture of a gazillion blends in my master's in international relations, I suddenly understood that the whole world could be an advocate and we can all be ambassadors. And that's how BrandSforce was pretty much born, my first startup.
Oh, wow. Brand Sports. There you go. What did they do?
BrandSforce was the second or third, depends how you count, influencer marketing management platform.
Oh, wow.
And that was when I paved my way trying to convince people that they might as well engage with their fans on social media rather than just get another spot on local radio
Yeah. Local radio.
or cable or whatever,
Yeah, I remember running ads on local radio. Yeah, for our
You
mortgage
see?
company
Well,
back
Tony
in.
Robbins began in what was like a shopping channel, right? So
Did he
whatever
really?
works.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he was selling the CDs, and I think you get tapes too. I think you can get an 8-track if you wanted one. I don't know. I don't remember. Right now, the kids are going, "What's an
Well, we
8-track?"
should stop because that will show exactly how much we have seen the world change,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
but we're still vibrant, and I think there's a lot still to do, learn, and accomplish.
And then you got into social media, the big, when Twitter was the thing, and did all that. You dealt with some micro influencers, I think, that you were pitching and selling, right?
Yeah, so I launched a startup. I bootstrapped it first with my day
Mm-hmm.
job as a VP product in Novabox that Netflix meets Hulu in Latin America.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I literally, I did what every entrepreneur that just has that itch does. Uh, I had my day job, and then at night, after putting my girl to bed and making dinner and being nice, I turned and I had two laptops, one for my day job, and the other one was writing the product requirements, which then I remember taking and giving them to a developer alongside an envelope with enough money to make one of the first influencer management platforms, and then
Oh wow.
bootstrapped my way until I raised a substantial amount of funding from American investors that were connected to the marketing field and believed in the power of micro influencers. So that was a very, very interesting ride. I served brands like Estee Lauder, GSK, Clinique, Time Out Magazine. I worked with governments. It was really, really interesting. It was amazing.
And what do you do now? You got your book launched, of course. What else do you do?
So for the past couple of years, I had a CMO as a service platform.
Okay.
So with many, many startups, understanding the product world, but needing a CMO without having a full-time CMO, I found that I could really help companies grow and really help them, hit the ground running, and then grow until they can really build their own marketing teams. So it was like Fiverr, but for CMOs. And I helped quite a few companies that are now IPO'd on NASDAQ, and some have exited, acquired, like Datorama that was acquired by Salesforce, Kaltura that IPO'd, a video engagement platform, and quite a few others. And then I took a break, my first break ever, and that it was writing a book. But that's not a break, that's a breakdown.
That's a breakdown. Yeah.
And yeah, and ever since the book has pre-launched and it's gotten me very, very busy. As you know, entrepreneurs are in love with their product, so I was in love with my baby book. But now
Hmm.
I forgot that, in order to launch a business around the core four, which is very important for me, that every entrepreneur or wannabe entrepreneur, solopreneur, anyone with a side hustle would really understand that with these core fours, that is the path to success, and not just diving into another Excel sheet and another deck in order to build the business, but rather to really understand what Simon Sinek calls the why, and others have other attributes to it, but those elements for every business, for every entrepreneur to find their personal North Star and the metrics that would lead them to success and remove all the friction and anxiety that you
Hmm.
have when you don't know where you're going, right?
Yeah, totally. And the vision, values, mission, and promise. A lot of people don't think about these things when they start. They might do a mission statement or whatever it is. Usually, the mission statement is some sort of blue sky, pie in the sky. We're gonna save the world or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
We're going to save the world by blah, blah, blah. But a true vision is one that really breaks down the essence of what will the company look like in 18 months' time,
Mm.
to the degree of how many people are there, By the way, what kind of vibes are there at the office? Who are the distribution partners? What does it all look like? How does the machine look when it's operating? Who are our favorite customers? What do they say about us? Who are our investors or not? Are we bootstrapping? Maybe we're launching a store on Shopify. That is could be a heck of a business, as we all know, with e-commerce booming and only just begun. So when you have that clear crystal vision of literally what it looks like at the office, what does a day look like, what are the kind of people that work there, who are customers, how do we serve them, then when we have that, we can actually reverse engineer every one of those pieces of maybe qualitative elements into the quantitative elements of them. Because if we have 50 people, 50 employees, or 30 people on our payroll and 10 freelancers, and we have an X amount of customers, that can all end up as the best business model and business plan that we can really follow through, versus an Excel sheet that many people just say, oh, I need to get back to that. But you should, as a business owner, you should know that by heart.
Mm-hmm. One thing you talk about is tackling friction and anxiety in your book. Many entrepreneurs experience high stress, burnout. I'm burnout right now. I'm always in a state of burnout, actually. I've been running companies since 18, so yeah, I've been burnout for a while. How does your book address some of the hurdles that us entrepreneurs have in that field?
Well, as we all know, the burnout and anxiety are usually feelings that arise when there's a lack of clarity and there's a lot of overwhelmed maybe vibes and feelings, because what are we supposed to do? Like, we wake up in the morning, what are we going to do now? And it doesn't matter if we just launched we're bootstrapping a business, or we just raised $50 million. That question of what's next, what do we do now? Should we, I hate the word, but pivot is a little bit of a, it's kind of a, okay, we fucked up, what do we do now? That is the right word.
They
So
should use that in Silicon Valley.
pardon my
We fucked
French,
up.
by
What
the
do
way,
we do
I'm
now?
sorry.
We've done.
But I think that with that kind of clarity and a very, very clear North Star metric, just like, by the way, Airbnb have theirs and LinkedIn have theirs, and every company that you can think of and read about in the book, they all have a specific metric that guides them through it. And that is how they start every meeting, with understanding that metric. And if a task, a mission, or a project does not serve that North Star, usually you can put it in the nice to have compartment, and that already removes a lot of friction and resources that you could put back onto the right track. Same goes for vision, because a lot of the fatigue for, like, I've been doing this for 16 years, just as you keep, you share that, and that is, I guess, you need a very strong why to keep going, given
It's
the
true.
great value that you've already given and the audience you already have. So once you have that vision of, in 18 months time, what does the Chris Voss show look like? Where does it expand to, or does it not? Maybe, but when you have that, then it removes a lot of the anxiety. It creates some kind of inner patience that I can see with that the great entrepreneurs, those that really created huge businesses like Netflix, Airbnb, Datorama, Wix for website building, and today everything that an entrepreneur needs in the digital world. Those kind of those CEOs, they know, like, they have the clear vision, the one that, if you look straight ahead, you can see that, not when
Mm-hmm.
you're here with your mobile.
That's true. That's true. Vision is really important in leaders, in being able to see where the future is going, chart a path. I always liken it to a ship sea captain. No one can see the port. No one knows, kind of, other than using instruments for direction and maybe the North Star. You have to have that vision to go. It's out there. If we
Totally.
if we just move that mountain, we're gonna find it. And sometimes you're just betting on maybe your instinct, or maybe your knowledge base and your instinct a little bit.
Or what
In
you
the
last heard in a podcast, or what someone said. But if someone said, it's like, and then it's those. I started, by the way, I got into the vision when I first, I remember, there's the cartoon, the Alice in Wonderland, when she walks in the woods and the cat's waiting, the Westchester cat, and she's like, would you tell me and she reaches a fork and she asks for directions. She asks, can you tell me which way to go? And he says, well, that depends where you want to go. And she says, well, I don't know. So he says, any road will get you there, right? So when you see entrepreneurs, as much as they have some kind of vision, it's not, as you said, far and wide enough for them to really understand which road to take and what decision to make. And when you add the core values to that, which are your core beliefs, what you truly believe in and how you operate, then you can also know that if you're not the kind of person that will go to big distribution channels, but rather want to touch and go with specific platforms versus like a big Siemens or whatever, then that's not the way you operate. So it won't work. And then you're barking on the wrong tree. So those are the things that help clean out a lot of ideas and thoughts and trends that may not necessarily be the ones that are right for your venture.
You talk about in the book too about influencer culture. What does the landscape look right now? It's kind of weird. Where I think in the 19th we might not have TikTok. There's a lot of influencers that are on TikTok making serious money. Kind of maybe some opportunity there for different, I don't know, platforms. And what do you think about it? What influencer culture and influencers are doing these days? Is there any new changes coming up in 2025 maybe?
Oh, there are some drastic changes and trends that are happening as we speak. And that's even a venture that, one drink too many kind of ventures that I launched during Christmas. But the influencer trend today is extremely tricky because the influencers that tap onto affiliate platforms and then suddenly, they talk about hand cream or some kind of facial, whatever the rocks that they use, or going on voyages and blogging for tourism. Those are now, they appear to Gen Z and the alphas as campaigns, as marketing and promotional campaigns, which means that they go nearly unnoticed. So when you choose an influencer today, the fact that you'll choose one with 100,000 followers or 1.5 million followers, that does not mean that you're actually engaging with the right influencer for your brand. And that doesn't matter if you're a Clinique, a P&G, or Nili and Chris Voss, right? It doesn't matter because the authenticity of the micro influencers is challenged. And today, we can use technology to really identify which of the influencers are the ones that are doing the best job for a specific niche. So that's one thing. Yeah. Another thing is that leads us again to the micro influencers, those of the 10 to 50K followers that have higher engagement rates. And they're very picky about the brands that they do choose to promote and choose to engage with. So in a way, like everything, there was a flood. But those who remain and the ones that are, I guess, the influencers that are more connected to their personal brand and their core values and their vision are the ones that are probably going to be serving best. On the other hand, there's a lot of stuff that we can enjoy today, which is, in addition to influencers, content and content assets, digital assets. So as a brand, what we want to do is connect influencers with unique digital assets that we create as a brand, just like you have your asset, which is the show. But there are that there are 12 types of different podcasts. Not all podcasts are the kind that we're having right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can have an unscripted reality show that is already in a podcast format, and it would serve you tremendously as a brand. So you don't. So as a brand for 2025, I would focus on creating unique digital assets that align with my vision, my core values, and the core values that connect me to my audience. and also move. Well, TikTok is a bit tricky these days, especially in the following 2 weeks. It's going to be extremely interesting, maybe 3 months, but we all know where it's going, right? In the Western world, at least.
Looks like it.
So, but there are a lot of platforms like Subtract, like Patreon. We know OnlyFans for a specific reason, but OnlyFans type kind of platforms are growing for various niches. So
Yeah.
that's going to be very interesting to follow. But as a brand, or again, as a solopreneur or as a big brand, I would focus on creating longevity, creating digital assets that will serve me, just like your show serves people that land on your amazing brand, and start going backwards. We can go 16 years back and enjoy the assets that you created. So that kind of longevity is the new trend, alongside micro influencers that we can measure with technology, their effect and ripple effect on our brand.
Yeah, it's well, I feel good now because we've got longevity. I mean, we just hit 18 years on the YouTube channel, and though YouTube isn't a favorite of our audience, I mean, I think we're a little too highbrow. We just highbrowed right past the YouTube audience.
Well, there's one more trend that you might be very happy to hear about, and that is that the longer videos are gaining more and more attention. So
Nice.
all those shorts of a blast of an influencer, hey guys, listen to this. Blah, 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 blah. Well, it's not going to fade away, but the attention span is changing. You can see that, by the way, with TikTok. They allow videos of up to 10-minute long videos to be uploaded to their platform. Just imagine what kind of ROI they need in order to enable that kind of data on their platform. But that also means that the attention span of Gen Zs, Alphas, and of course Millennials and up is now more focused on something that interests them, and they would like to go and dive deeper. By the way, just like Chat enables you, ChatGPT and other AI platforms enable you to dive deeper and spend a little bit more time on the things that matter to you most. So I think that you might be surprised with what can happen with Chris Voss's show on YouTube.
Nice. That'd be great. They've got the podcast over there now too. They're trying to be like iTunes, so they sucked in the podcast, but I don't know how it's working. But I have noticed that people like long playing videos. Like they're like podcasts now that last like 2 or 3 hours. And we used to
we've heard, especially the ones about longevity and health and wellness.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, there are meditations on YouTube that last the whole night long, right? So you have 8 hour, 6 hour video. Well, they're not videos, but it's data and content that is uploaded and serves a great audience, by the way. They have millions and tens of millions of views. So it's really interesting to see that as well.
Yeah. It's really interesting. Well, that's good. I mean, we had somebody. Our YouTube channel has a lot of product reviews from back in the day. We did a lot of product reviews up until about the COVID, and supply chain killed all that. And so somebody they remarked on a video. I think it was from 2015 or something. They're like, "Hey, if you still have this, I'll buy it off you." And it's like, it's funny. They'll still comment on like iPhone 3 videos and iPhone 5 videos, and you're like.
I had someone stop me in one of the accelerators the other day. Since I work with startups, and now I'm moving the startup formats, the framework, just like the core 4 into the B2C world. I think everyone deserves that. But someone came up to me and talked to me about a video that was promoted, I guess, 6 years ago about how to clarify your message and how to engage with your brand and how to build a website without paying tens of thousands of dollars to agencies, because what they need is the right copy and the right message. And I also walk them through that. So it's like I think it was at Techstars here, but it was so funny because I forgot that that video even exists. Talk about language. I mean, and that he even recognized me because I do look a bit different. But
There you
So
go.
that's a good thing. It means that if your content is good and if you do provide value, and we always go back to that, but if it's purposeful, if it's value driven, if you really care about what you talk about and the content that you promote versus just buy stuff off of me and come into my funnel, then we're here to last.
There you go. So Nili, as we go out, any services and stuff you want to offer? I don't know if you do any consulting or you do any fractional CO stuff or any. I don't know what you're up to there. Tell us what you're up to and what people can check out.
So 2025, I spent a little time polishing up my vision, and I am really focused on sharing the core four with as many entrepreneurs and startups as possible, and that is why I wrote the book. But I do cherry pick my consultancies so that I run extremely short sprints and boot camps that are between half a day to a day and a half long, and the 3 week messaging sprints. And I don't do many of those, but I am now creating a waiting list, and and again, LinkedIn is the best way for it to find me there. For the B2C, to create an accelerator program, which will be launched in March, for any entrepreneur who wants to hit the ground running and within 13 weeks to really launch and present their business to the world. So I took
Oh,
all of the experience and know-how from the tech world and the startup scene of how to launch a business, and with the book and the core four, condensed it into a framework and a mindset that can really help any entrepreneur. So that is my focus for 2025. And as I said before, that one drink too many startup, which I've signed the agreement today, the term sheet with my partner. So I'm kind of, I'm obliged and I'm very passionate about that. And that is to create longevity and digital assets that will enable brands to ditch the periodical campaigns that create those hurricanes, that create that anxiety and a lot of friction, because we have to launch the campaign, versus enabling and building digital assets that will really maintain every brand in the top of mind of their audience. So when it's time to hit the click button and purchase, they won't really need to decide between or choose between a variety of brands, but rather they'll have their favorite brand on top of mind thanks to the digital assets. And that company's name is Noise, of course, to
oh.
rise above the noise.
To rise above the noise. That's definitely important, especially if you want to influence, because there's a lot of noise out there. Everyone's yelling and screaming, trying to get attention.
Let's make some noise, and then we have to rise above it, right? So that's part of what marketing and retail is all about.
Making the noise. That's what we should have called the podcast. The Making Noise Podcast.
I think
There
we
you
can go offline, and I told you I made a few promises before we went on air about this. And again, the long content and the repurposing of content
Oh
has
yeah.
so much value in it. And by the way, there's tons of revenue streams to explore today, on not just on the platforms, but rather, and not just providing another course and another ebook, but rather there are gazillions of products, and many people that the workforce is changing. So many people are becoming entrepreneurs and digital nomads. So there's
Yeah.
so much content and so much support that they need, that I guess that people who have been around can really repurpose everything they've done to new niches. Just like I'm moving from the B2B world to the B2C world, or the solopreneurs and the side hustles.
There you go. So give us your final .coms and pitch out as we go out, so people can find out more about you and reach out and utilize some of your services too.
So again, first of all, you're all welcome to reach out through social media: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn is my favorite. That is where no assistant of mine goes to. That is mine. And everyone's welcome there. I also attend my email about 2 to 3 times a day. Given my ADHD, I really try not to go there too often, because that usually ends up with me finding some kind of course I really want to attend. So, but you're more than welcome to reach out at Nili, Nili, at faster.ai, FAASTR AI. But again, I'd love to see you on LinkedIn because then I can click and see your profile, really understand what you're about, who you are, what are your core values and what people stand for. And I really hope that in 2025, we will all be able to really look above into the horizon and have a very clear picture of what our business looks like, and what are the core values that we bring to the table, our beliefs and our operating system, so that when we find the perfect partners and audience, we'll see that they have pretty much the same core values, and that will enable us to engage with the right audience, especially for those who provide services or are just launching the business and need their initial customer base. That kind of engagement is what I hope to enhance in the world.
There you go. Well, Nili, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you for your insights and advice on how to be successful in entrepreneurism as an influencer, et cetera, et cetera. Thank you for coming on the show.
Chris, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure, and thank you for your patience and really easing this process through. Because as you know, being the entrepreneur with a new product and a baby book to share with the world, it's pretty exciting and overwhelming.
Well, congratulations. Most people don't pull it off. A lot of people try to do a book and they don't. So congratulations. You got your first one under your belt. Now we need 2 or 3 more.
I've already begun the next one, but as you know, there's a book, and now it deserves my attention, just like every newborn.
There you go. Your Core 4, the ultimate framework for unleashing business success through vision, values, mission, and promise, out August 5th, 2024. Order up wherever fine books are sold. Thanks, Artists, for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, linkedin.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss1 on the TikTok, and Chris Voss, facebook.com. See all all the Chris Voss show stuff over there on the face of black, as it were. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.